Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network. As tonight we are here at Langley for the Blast to the Past Throwback 150, brought to you by Beth's Colorful Creations. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. My name is KR Stolfus, and as always, I have Kelly Dahl in the booth with me here on Thursday nights. Kelly, welcome. Come on in and join me for a night of outstanding short track racing.
Yeah, really excited to see this week's race. I mean, they've been talking so much about Langley and what the race is going to be like here, and also the fact that it's the last race before the chase, and we have a couple guys just sitting right on the bubble that might be going all out to try to get this final spot that's really available here in the chase.
Yeah, speaking of our chase, as we look at our point standings coming into tonight, Steph Marinac, Bill Martin, and Joe Schaefer well above the cutoff line for the final race here. Over 100 points between them, and 10th place Guillaume Fortin and 11th place Scott Austin. Austin, that rookie, he is only 12 points out of the chase. He is looking for a solid run here tonight.
And for those that were here last week and didn't hear about maybe what had happened after the race last week, Guillaume Fortin was stripped of his win after an illegal lane change on the final restart, so he is not going to be secured into the chase as we thought he was going to be last week after winning. Now he is only 12 points ahead of Scott Austin, as you said, so we'll have to keep an eye on the 13 and the 5 and see if those guys, how much they're going to battle for that final chase spot.
So 5 minutes left in our first warm-up session, and Kelly, you know, having that result stripped away from Guillaume, that was a tough one for all of us, because that was his first win of his career here with Upstate Racing League.
Yeah, and I definitely felt bad after I had heard the news that they took that win away from him, but I'd expect to see that car really pushing hard here tonight. I mean, taking a look at his practice times, he is running the 4th fastest practice lap time, so there's definitely a possibility that he could maybe come back this week and maybe use what happened with last week to help push him towards another win. But if we before we get on to more of our race here, we'd like to thank Verge Currency, one of our title sponsor for the Upstate Racing League Pro Late Model Series. Verge is a cryptocurrency designed for people and for everyday use. It improves upon the original Bitcoin blockchain and aims to fulfill its initial purpose of providing individuals and businesses with a fast, efficient, decentralized way of making direct transactions while maintaining your privacy.
So as the drivers work their way around, I did mention it is throwback paint scheme tonight. Drivers running throwback paint schemes that have meaning to them. And as we look at the 96 of Al Smith, this one is modeled after his father's 1990 Mustang GT race car, gold wheels included.
Yeah, there's a lot of different paint schemes run here tonight, and this is it's a race I always look forward to. They always run a throwback race, and I'm always looking forward to a throwback race because it just ends up being the best looking field of the season when they run this event. And looking through all of these different cars, it's once again another year of amazing looking cars.
The drivers do pull out all the stops when it comes to these throwback paint schemes. AJ Hamill in the 18 machine, his paint scheme here tonight, modeled after his childhood hero Chuck Bone in the 1990 BGN Championship Nescafe car.
And we'll try to keep going through all of the different cars here tonight, but there is a lot of different throwback schemes. Each one has their own little story behind them. I mean, you got the Mike Alexander in that 75 machine running here tonight. He said he met Dale Jarrett as a kid, had a Batman camera on him, and Dale Jarrett told him that he was going to run a Batman car next year, and he thought that as a kid it was because of him.
What? Well, I mean, the innocence of youth, and what a lifestyle to lead, knowing that you influenced a professional driver in his car choice.
Yeah, another good one is the 90 of Matt Roll. The paint scheme that Matt Roll is running was designed by his father, and it's the first one that he remembers watching his dad design way back in 1987. And Matt says it's one of his always been one of his favorites growing up, and wanted to run this scheme tonight as a nod to his dad, who apparently still designs race cars. Apparently he is 70 years old, and Matt says that his dad produces one new race car design every week.
That is crazy. And it's not a bad looking car.
That's a fantastic looking car. It is definitely a vintage era looking race car, but it looks amazing.
Drivers making the final 45 seconds of warm-up here at Langley for the Beth's Colorful Creations Throwback 150. Qualifying getting ready to come out next. Qualifying will take the top read my note. Top 10. I saw the 8, got confused. I was like, that's not right. The top 10 make it in to the show directly. Everyone else will be sorted through our 2 heats. Then come feature time, the top 8 get inverted. So if you recall last week's interview with Bill Martin, he said he was going to try and put that car in 8th place.
I mean, that's definitely a hard thing to do. I'd say it's almost easier to try to qualify first than it is to try to qualify 8th. Because if you want to try to qualify on pole, you just go as fast as you can. If you're trying to qualify 8th, basically you're trying to guess what everyone else is going to run, and then run just fast enough to slot into 8th place. So I mean, it's going to be hard to attempt to qualify 8th.
Brian Rogers in the 12 machine, our Rookie of the Year sponsor. He is making his way out on the track for his first qualifying session. Green flag out for him as he's going to dive down to the bottom of 1 and 2. Not a lot of time here in qualifying to lay down your lap. 2 laps is all you get, and 2 minutes in total. Already, Brian Rogers has done his 2 laps.
Actually, just getting in some results now. So right now, Mike Alexander shoots at the top of the board with a 14.908. So good time from him. Guillaume Fortin currently holding on to second place with a 9.96. Or sorry, 14.966.
Bill Martin having a bit of a moment on his qualifying lap. He's gonna shut it down before he gets to the start finish line. The 42 of Brett Bartel's slowly working his way down the backstretch before he pulls onto pit road. He is sitting in 13th spot for the moment. And a new pole sitter, the 6 of Joe Schaefer.
Yeah, new quick time of 14.866, so a fantastic lap from Joe Schaefer. Hopefully he'll not only just have that fast 1-lap pace, but we'll have to see if during the race he's got the multi-lap pace. Bill Martin, though, with another quick time, he doesn't look like he tried to go for 8th that time. It looks like he went for first place and ended up coming just short of Joe Schaefer.
As qualifying ticks down, we get ready to go to our heat races here tonight, brought to you by the Western Super Series. And drivers gonna take to the grid for heat race number 1.
Yeah, heat races brought to you by the Western Super Series, fixed super late models on Tuesday nights, brought to you by the people of Narrative Coffee Company. Starting first in our first heat race will be Al Smith Jr., and on his outside for row 1, it's gonna be 72 of Andy Lambert.
Row number 2 is going to be the 17 of A.J. Rogers and the 90 of Matt Roll.
For row number 3, we're going to see the 5 of Scott Austin and the 45 of Doug Wysocki, and rounding out our 7-car field for this first heat is going to be the 51 of Justin Fuller.
So Fuller not yet getting to his car. I'm not even sure I've seen Fuller load in and turn a lap yet. So that 51 machine.
The sim says he's connected, so he's here. It's just, well, he's loaded in as if he's actually here and at his sim.
Right. So he may not be at the steering wheel. So 6 cars for the moment. We'll see if that 51 is going to be able to make it here tonight for heat race number 1. And a long wait for
30 more seconds
for that 51 machine as everyone's ready to go. Drivers are ready. I'm ready. And it is a beautiful night to have these throwback paint schemes. You see the 96 and the 90 looking pretty sharp here tonight.
Just trying to see if we got any other throwback schemes in this heat. Not see, I don't think so. At least not ones that we have write-ups for. So
as the drivers patiently wait at that start finish line, now they're going to start rolling out. Heat race number 1 coming at you. This is going to be a 15 lap heat race. Everyone will be making the show. No last chance qualifier here tonight.
now, one thing that's interesting here, Justin Fuller, if he's not here, Justin Fuller is 9th in the chase. He's only 21 points above the cut line. So if he only takes a provisional, takes last place points, there's still an opportunity for Scott Austin to not have to pass Guillaume Fortin and might still be able to leapfrog over Justin Fuller.
A lot of points battles up in the air here as we wait to see if Fuller makes the show here tonight. Lights are out on the Ford Mustang. We get ready to go green flag racing. Drivers working their way down the backstretch. Pace car going to peel off here in just a moment. And Al Smith will take his super late model off to turn number 1. Drivers buckled in, hold on tight because here we go. Green flag is out and we are underway.
Big problems from that 72 machine. Andy Lambert on that start. Looks like he spun the tires, nearly got up into the wall, and that's going to allow Al Smith to take a commanding lead. AJ Rogers to take over 2nd place. Now looking like this 5 of Scott Austin trying to sneak underneath that 72 machine, and he almost gets clear. Now he will get clear, and that's going to allow him to take the position. Now Doug Wysocki trying to get around Lambert. Lambert is moving backwards fast. Only 2 laps into this race, and he's gone from second to last.
Not a very good start to this heat race for the 72 machine, but he has got, he's going to dive down deep, hop the curb a little bit there, got the front end up in the air, settled it down, but now he's trying to find a way around the 45 of Doug Wysocki. Meanwhile, our race leader is the 96 of Al Smith. He has the 17 of AJ Rogers starting to hound his back bumper.
Yeah, the 72 was just able to get around Doug Wysocki. Wysocki had an issue going into turn 1, got loose and ended up in the high lane, and now has allowed both the 72 and the 90 to pass him. Going back up to the front of the field, Al Smith starting to pull a gap again over AJ Rogers, but Rogers not allowing that 96 machine to get very far away.
Rogers going to tag the wall a little bit there on the right-hand side. Doesn't slow him down too much. And Al working that bottom lane here at Langley. Not getting too far down, not letting it drift too far up. Looking very solid here tonight in that 96.
Yeah, AJ Rogers now starting to put a little bit of pressure on that 96 machine, looking for a way around him, but so far looking like Al's running fairly consistently. Haven't seen any sort of wheel spin from him or any any kind of sign that he's getting loose or tight in the corners. That car is looking fairly stable and fairly consistent. He's running pretty much the same line each lap around, and now that 17 at Rogers getting right on his tail and trying to see if he can maybe take a look at a angle to run to get around him. now looking maybe he might go for the inside coming into this next corner.
Rogers taking a peek to the outside, maybe trying to get that low exit and get a run up off the corner. These straightaways are very short here at Langley. Not a lot of time to use and develop a run off a corner exit.
Yeah, like the straights are not very long and the corners are, though. You have a lot of time, you're kind of just off the throttle coasting through the middle of the corner. So like you said, you want to kind of set up your pass in the corner, and that's looked like what AJ Rogers has tried to do a few times. He runs a little high and then dives down off the exit of the corner, trying to get a run underneath of Al Smith, but Al has just been running so steadily that not really allowed AJ Rogers to get close enough to really pull that off.
So 3 laps to go this time around. Al Smith, your race leader, he has led all the laps here in heat race number 1, and he is trying to hold on to that race win. Set himself up nicely for the 150 lap main event.
Yeah, if he finishes in first in this heat, he will roll off for the feature race in 11th. So it's definitely a good starting spot. I mean, you would have a little bit of ground to make up to go for the race win, but it is a fantastic start, a fantastic place to start from. Now coming on to the last lap, he's just got 2 corners to go.
Final time around, Al Smith in the 96, gonna work his way off of turn number 4, and he is gonna win heat race number 1. AJ Rogers second, Scott Austin third, Matt Roll fourth, fifth going to be Doug Wysocki and Andy Lambert in the 72 machine, gonna bring it home in 6th place. Heat race number 2 starting to grid up. That means it is time to go to our best colorful creations starting lineup. AJ Hamill in the 18 machine on row number 1, with Matt McLean in the 88 on his outside.
Row number 2, we're going to see the 42 of Brett Bartels and the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr.
Row number 3 will be the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter and the 2 of Steph Marinac. And then bringing up the final spot, row number 4, that is the 65 of Jay Dubuque.
But I don't believe Jay will be racing tonight, so now the pace car is going to roll off, thankfully, and we won't have to wait the full 2 minutes for Jay. We will have a 6-car field for the second heat.
Steph Marinac in the 2 machine, going to be starting deep in this heat race. Still only 3rd row outside, but gonna be difficult to find some room to pass and make it in a hurry because only 15 laps in these heat races.
But at the same time, Steph Marinac doesn't really have to push that hard. He is solidly in the chase with a 134-point lead, so he can just kind of cruise around here tonight and he'll make the chase either way.
18 of AJ Hamill, bringing his machine slowly around the track. Pace car getting ready to peel off. The 18 gonna be in control of the field. Matt McLean in the 88, he's gonna look for a good jump here. He has got to find a way to either keep pace with that 18 or get down to that inside lane as fast as possible as a green flag comes out. Heat race number 2 underway.
And McLean looked like he was gonna out-drag AJ, but kind of lifts off through turn 1, slots in behind him off of turn 2, and now we've got our battle for the race lead shaping up as Matt McLean going way down on the apron to try to get any sort of run on that 18 machine.
Brett Bartels in the 42 gonna slot into 3rd. 4th place is the 12 of Brian Rogers. 5th, Jeremy Carpenter. Carpenter running a Bigfoot paint scheme here tonight. And the reason for that one is it's just a throwback to the biggest motorsports attraction to the 1980s. That is the original monster truck, Bigfoot.
AJ Hamill and Matt McLean have opened up a huge gap over the rest of the field. I mean, those two are running together, and then it seems to be like the rest of the field chasing after. Brian Rogers now getting to the inside of Brett Bartels for third place. He's going to make that pass pretty easily, and now we see Jeremy Carpenter taking a look to the inside of that 42, nearly making contact into turn one.
So Rogers moving into third. Marinac still sitting back in sixth place. As you mentioned, he is not too worried about applying the pressure here, but that two machine riding around at the back, if one of these guys slips up, he's probably going to take a dive down to the inside.
Yeah, he's just kind of in the position to really capitalize on any mistakes that those next three will make, as that 12, 42, and 1 all running pretty much nose to tail. And again, that 18 and the 88 have taken off from everyone else, and now there's quite a big gap starting to open up between McLean and Hamill, as Hamill's got about a half-second lead over that 88 machine.
Yeah, AJ Hamill really got out to that early lead and has pulled a bit of a gap, and the 88 of McLean has not been able to close in on him.
And now McLean is attempting some different corner entries, different lines, trying to find some way to catch up to AJ Hamill, but AJ keeping that car pointed in the right direction, keeping it stable, and just running consistently. And taking a look at the gap between second and third, though, that is almost 1.6 seconds. So a huge lead, or huge gap between Matt McLean and Brian Rogers.
The Rogers in the 12, sitting in third, trying to track down the 88, but with 5 laps to go, he is quickly running out of time.
And the battle for third place starting to spread out a little bit. Brett Bartels has backed off from Brian Rogers. Jeremy Carpenter's kind of backed off a little bit from that 42 machine, and Steph Marinac just, as I said, cruising around in the back. He's got no worries here tonight.
So Hamill in the 18, now looking at 3 laps to go in heat race number 2. He works his way onto the backstretch. Matt McLean has closed the gap to him a little bit, but with 3 laps to go, I don't think that 88 is going to have enough time to get to his back bumper. He's going to need some help from the 18 by him making a mistake.
Yeah, it's all in the hands of AJ Hamill now. If he just runs these next lap and a half clean, he's got no issues, because Matt McLean is not close enough to even mount an attack. I mean, and that's really going to be would be a multi-lap kind of endeavor here. So AJ Hamill getting around turns 1 and 2 clean, just has to get around 3 and 4 now.
Hamill down through 3 and 4 off of turn number 4. Heat race number 2 in the books. AJ Hamill, your race winner. Matt McLean second, Brian Rogers third, Brett Bartels fourth, Jeremy Carpenter in the 1 machine will be 5th, with Steph Marinac in the 6 machine, or in the 2 machine, bring it home in 6th place. As drivers transition to their final warm-up session before the feature event, that means it is time for us to play our national anthems. No one go anywhere. We'll be back after this.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the boats bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Turn 3 Racing Network as drivers are doing their warm-up for what is going to be the Beth's Colorful Creation Throwback 150 at Langley. And boy, oh boy, me and Kelly were talking there during the anthem break about some of these outstanding paint schemes, and one of them we haven't talked about yet tonight. That is the 3 machine being piloted by Justin McDuff, and his car is based off of Brett Hearn's number 3 Budweiser he ran in the late 90s and early 2000s. Hearn has been his favorite dirt track racer for all the years that he's been a fan, and he has announced he is semi-retiring this year. This scheme was created to honor his 40-plus year driving career and 900-plus wins. Kelly, is 900 more than 3?
It's more wins than I think either of us have together, especially considering I don't think I've won anything outside the sim.
Well, I can only count to 3.
Take your boots off. You got 20 right there.
Oh, so I can count to 23 now.
Toes. There you go.
I can count to 23. But yeah, Kelly, so some throwback paint schemes here tonight. We've had a chance to look at them. Any of them really that have caught your eye the most yet?
I mean, another one we haven't talked about, I'm sure a lot of people would recognize, the 6 of Joe Schaefer running a Mark Martin's 1997 Valvoline car. That's honestly, that's been one of my favorite schemes growing up, was that Valvoline machine. I mean, that thing is, I think, just a fantastic looking car.
It is a very solid looking one, piloted by the 6 of Joe Schaefer, and Schaefer's, capable of doing that paint scheme proud. He has a shot at winning each week he shows up.
And going on to another one of our paint schemes, Bill Martin is running Ted Musgrave's 1994 Family Channel car that he ran when he was racing with Roush Racing.
Well, unfortunately, if that's what he's supposed to be running, alls I have is the one he has been running.
You might want to refresh that because I've got it.
Do you? Well, let's try this
definitely got
real
it.
quick. Let's see if we can.
It's actually a really nice looking car. He's got a custom number and everything. Well, don't let all his work go to waste.
Well, we might have, because it's not loading up. That is tragic. I really hate when Trading Paints fails and lets us down. Maybe you should just screenshot it and send it to me, and then I'll hold it up in front of the king. Oh, never mind.
See, I think we've talked about just about everyone. Actually, no, Guillaume. We haven't talked about Guillaume's car here tonight. That 13 tonight is the 11. It's apparently a car coming from 1989 and is based off of a man named Claude Leclerc. He's the oldest active driver in Quebec City at the age of 78. He started in 1976 and has run multiple seasons with the ACT Tour. This summer will be his 44th season.
That is a lot of years behind the wheel of a race car. 44th season. Well, outstanding paint jobs out there tonight. Unfortunately, Bill Martin's not loading up. That is tragic. Maybe if we can get a long break in here, I can step away and try and rejoin the session, see if that'll load it up. But for right now, we're just going to have to use our imagination on that 39. As we wait for our session to kick over, Kelly, do you remember who our pole sitter is?
I mean, our fastest qualifying time was held by Joe Schaefer. So he is the winner of the Quick Clip Award for Arts Barbershop. But the person that will be starting off this race in first because of our invert will be Brian Hacker. So he's going to get that preferred position, and we'll have to see what he's going to be able to do with it.
All right, as we work towards 5 minutes left in this warm-up session, I do have a car that's turned white. I wonder if that could be Bill Martin. Nope, he's still out on track. That's all right. This car still looks good the way it is. But this warm-up session drawn to a close, that means it is time to get ready for tonight's main event. Drivers starting to take to the grid, and we will go to our starting lineup. Row number 1 will be the 11 of Brian Hacker and the 3 of Justin McDuff.
Row number 2, we're going to see the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, the 24 of Brandon Otto.
Row 3, the 98 of Chris Stump and the 75 of Mike Alexander.
Row 4, we got the 39 of Bill Martin and the 6 of Joe Schaefer.
Row 5, the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre Jr. and the 33 of Hugo Paquette.
Row 6, we see the 96 Al Smith Jr. and the 18 of AJ Hamilton was outside.
Row 7, the 17 of AJ Rogers and the 88 of Matt McLean.
Row 8, we see the 5 of Scott Austin and the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr.
Row 9, the 90 machine of Matt Roll and the 42 of Brett Bartels.
Row 10, we got the 45 of Doug Wysocki and the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter.
And row 11, the 72 of Andy Lambert and the 2 of Steph Marinac, and that is our 22 car field here tonight.
And with Steph being locked into this event, just expect him to ride around at the back, avoid getting any sort of caution points that would hurt him going into the chase. They do run every time you get or are the cause of a caution, you get basically a strike against you. And if you amass too many of those, you will sit for a week. So I'd expect the two of Marinac to just kind of stay in the back, avoid causing any sort of trouble, and just kind of make sure he carries a clean slate into the chase.
Lights are out on the pace cars. We get ready to go green flag racing for 150 laps here at Langley. Pace car eyeballing that pin entry to get out of the way. There it goes, down and away. The 11 machine of Brian Hacker on the throttle. Green flag is out, and we are underway here tonight.
And watch people trying to dive down to that inside as we've got two number 11s on the inside row at the front of the field. Brandon Otto trying to find his way to the bottom, but Chris Stump gonna throw his car in there, hold off that inside line. Now Otto lifting early to find a gap between Martin and Stump. Can't quite find it. Now he is going to get himself down there, and now that 3 machine of Justin McDuff going to finally find his way to the inside line.
Top 5 running in single file. Now the 75 of Mike Alexander having to deal with the 39 of Bill Martin. Bill Martin going to get by the 75 machine. Here comes the 6 of Joe Schaefer. He's going to make a move to the inside. Mike Alexander in that 75 machine starting to trend in the wrong direction, but now he's going to slide down to the inside and settle into 8th place.
And what we're seeing tonight so far through the heats and through the first few laps of this race is that inside line is the dominant line. And really, if you look at how much rubber has been laid down there throughout practice, that's the only line people have been running. Looks like nobody's even touched that second lane at all.
The 96 of Al Smith Jr. finding himself in 10th place here as he starts to try and work his way forward. He had advantage of starting on the inside line, but a lot of drivers single file here, and Langley, you know, I expect it to be calm here in the opening stages as everyone tries to work in a little bit of a spot to run their race, but down towards the end, there's not going to be a whole lot of give and take. This single file racing is going to turn into bump and run, root and gouge, get down and dirty.
I mean, a few drivers told us last week after the race that passing was going to be difficult here at Langley, and so far we are seeing that. There is only one lane here at this racetrack, so you've got to set yourself up for a good corner exit, but even that's difficult because these straightaways are so short, so you almost have to just kind of muscle your way through positions.
Our race leader, the 11 machine of Brian Hacker, he is battling with the 11 of Guillaume 410, and Guillaume right there on his back bumper, not letting him get away during, you know, that middle of the corner. He's diving down below the yellow line there in 1 and 2, trying to find a little bit extra grip up off the corner.
And there is no yellow line rule here. If it's paved, run on it. So these guys are trying to use every inch of the track. Oh, contact between the 11 and the 11. And that's going to be a good sign for that 3 of Justin McDuff as he dives down to the inside. Now both Guillaume and Hacker stuck on the outside. Hacker able to get just enough ahead of the 3 machine to drop down in front of him. So that contact between Hacker and Guillaume is actually going to cost Guillaume more as he's stuck on that outside lane.
Yeah, Guillaume got off the throttle as soon as he got to that back bumper of Brian Hacker and made that contact. He let the 11 machine drive through that sideways motion, gathered the car back underneath him. But yeah, it is going to cost Guillaume a lot of time here on the track as Bill Martin now moves down to the inside. Guillaume falling all the way to 6th.
Now watching the front, looks like Justin McDuff has got the speed to get ahead, or he looks like he's faster than Brian Hacker, but there's no way for him to really make a pass right now. So he's just trying to weigh up his options and maybe take a look at what he might do. Maybe he'll try to dive underneath the 11 just like Guillaume did, but hopefully it'll go a little bit better for him as Guillaume is still trying to find a way to the bottom of this racetrack. now all the way down to 6th place, and now he will actually 8th place now as he finds a spot in that bottom lane.
So Guillaume settling in behind the 75 of Mike Alexander. The 81 of Jimmy McIntyre sitting in 9th place. McIntyre running that same paint scheme we saw last week. I think that is a beautiful red.
I'm gonna have to cut you off now because here's a battle for the race lead. Justin McDuff gave a little bit of a tap to Hacker going into turn 3, and that's allowed him to get to that bottom lane. And we've seen the bottom lane be the dominant one, and this might be problems for the 11 machine as we saw Guillaume go from 2nd all the way to 8th before he was able to find a spot. So now Hacker trying his best to hang on to the outside.
Yeah, the 11 hung tough for a few laps there, but now the 3 of Justin McDuff rolls into the race lead. Here comes the 98 of Chris Stump. He's going to try and work his way to the inside of the 11 of Brian Hacker, and Hacker has just got to be patient here and hope that one of the cars behind him gets to the throttle a little late and gives him an opening.
There's been a couple times where it looks like there would be a gap between the 24 and the 39, but now that Hacker is at that gap, it doesn't exist anymore, as that 39 of Bill Martin was able to close up just enough to block out the 11. Now he finds that gap and dives immediately to the bottom. It actually gets him a little loose coming off the corner.
Yeah, the 11 of Brian Hacker got sideways. Good save again by the 11 machine that has stacked the field up behind him. And the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre is going to end up going way wide. Now the 96 of Al Smith to his inside. The 81 machine looking like he is about ready to be freight trained.
Yeah, it's a problem for that 81 of Jimmy McIntyre. Not in the place he wanted to be. He's now going to be able to only lose one spot. He's able to slot back in behind Al Smith, but it actually opened up a bit of a gap between Smith and Fortin as they all kind of accordioned back there after the 11 of Hacker got loose.
The drivers getting back to single file here. Everyone running that inside line. Check in on a few drivers deeper in the field. The 45 of Doug Wysocki right now, he is in a 21st spot. And the 2 machine of Steph Marinak, who is running a Drake and Josh Show paint scheme that aired on Nickelodeon. He is still sitting in 22nd spot. I think he is just content to ride out tonight's race where he is at.
And tonight's race is brought to you by Beth's Colorful Creations. Beth's Colorful Creations is your custom cake headquarters. Need that special cake for that special moment? And give Beth's Colorful Creations I'm struggling today, but give Beth's Colorful Creations a call, the exclusive cake provider of the Upstate Racing League, and you can look them up on Facebook by searching Beth's Colorful Creations. Now, as we're going through that sponsor readout, problems again for Brian Hacker as he's been shuffled to that outside once more, and that 39 of Bill Martin getting past, and now Joe Schaefer as well, and Mike Alexander looking to get his nose in there and take away that position. Oh, bit of problems back in the field. The car spinning out, and I think he was able to hold on to it. Looks like AJ Hamill, he did not hold on to it. He's in the grass at a dead stop, so problems for the 18 machine. Looks like he might be done for the night.
So AJ Hamill going through the grass, staying off the racing surface when he came to a stop. That will keep us green flag racing. But AJ Hamill on the pit road, maybe looking at an early exit here. Is the 96 of Al Smith going to try and squeeze down underneath the 11 of Brian Hacker. Hacker, I think, is really kind of suffering from overheating his tires. We saw him get sideways a couple times, and these super late models do not like an overheated tire.
Yeah, they definitely do not. You've got to be careful with them, especially with the fact that you are not allowed to change tires in this series. So I think what Hacker may have done is he really just kind of tried to hold on to first place a little bit too hard and ended up kind of burning off his tires. But now he's all the way back in 8th. He's actually behind Guillaume Fortin now. So definitely not where Hacker wanted to be after starting pole position. And now he's got Al Smith trying to find his way around him.
Bill Martin in the 39 machine. He is sitting in 4th place. He is being hounded by the 6 of Joe Schaefer. Joe Schaefer, meanwhile, trying to watch his mirror as the 75 of Mike Alexander is looking to take over a spot in the top 5. Your race leader continues to be the 3 of Justin McDuff. Chris Stump sitting in 2nd, and Brandon Otto in the 24 machine. Right now, he is in 3rd as Bill Martin's going to get stuck to the high side here. Mike Alexander going to try and fill the gap there. Bill Martin now one of the drivers who's looking to be shuffled back.
And that all came about from Joe Schaefer. Joe just had a fantastic corner exit off of, I believe that was turn 4, was just able to get his front nose to the inside of the left rear quarter of Bill Martin before Bill even had an opportunity to try to shut that door. So that cost Bill Martin 3 spots there, as he is going to be able to slot in between Guillaume Fortin and Brian Hacker.
So Bill Martin now into 7th place. Justin McDuff, your race leader, he has a 0.4 second lead over the 98 of Chris Stump. And they are starting to see the back end of this field. Steph Marinac has worked his way forward a little bit. He has worked around AJ Hamill, as Hamill has been sitting on pit road. So Marinac now in 21st spot. And we do have to mention that the 51 of Justin Fuller has joined the race. He is 35 laps down.
Yeah, but that's all he needed to at least get starting points, and that will maybe save him from being dropped out of this chase, as he was only 21 points ahead of the cut line. But Scott Austin is kind of the one we got to pay attention to. Where is he right now? He's 14th, so this might actually save Justin Fuller, because I don't think that Scott Austin will have the points to pass Fuller with the way he currently is.
Austin trying to find a way around the 88 of Matt McLean. That is a battle for 13th spot, held on by McLean. Meanwhile, we're looking back for just a little bit. The 81 of Jimmy McIntyre, he is going to fall to 12th as the 17 of AJ Rogers works his way around. Al Smith in the 96 machine in 10th spot, just in front of the 17 of AJ Rogers. Ryan Hacker in 8th, and the 33 of Hugo Paquette finds himself in 9th place.
And looking up, battle for 3rd starting to shape up as Brandon Otto has fallen off from that 2-car breakaway of Justin McDuff and Chris Stump. Has now fallen all the way to Joe Schaefer, who has shown himself to be very quick tonight. Here he goes again off the corner, going to immediately get his nose to the inside and force that driver to take that slower second lane and keep trying. Actually, no, it looks like Otto was able to hold off on that outside line, able to get the momentum to drop back down in front of him on the back straight.
The Brandon surviving an attack from the 6, but we know Joe Schaefer has a fast race car, and Otto getting into the wall down the backstretch. That is going to allow the 6 machine to squeeze on by, so move Joe Schaefer into 3rd.
Yeah, but now Joe Schaefer's got to try to catch up to Justin McDuff and Chris Stump. I mean, he's 1.9 seconds behind McDuff with 1.4 behind Stump, so that is a lot of ground to make up. But these leaders are now starting to deal with lap traffic as they go by the 45 of Doug Wysocki. Just gets right out of the way of these guys.
And Doug up to the high side there. The 3 machine of Justin McDuff has been your race leader for 32 laps now, and counting. That 3 machine looking very fast, very racy here tonight. Chris Stump sitting in 2nd place. And I briefly mentioned the 33, Kelly, but he is running a special paint scheme here tonight. What can you tell us about Hugo's paint scheme?
Hugo Paquette is running the first ever stock car that Raphael Lessard ran at Autodrome Chaudière in Quebec. This season, Raphael will compete the full season of the Gander Outdoor NASCAR Truck Series in the number 4 Toyota Tundra for Kyle Busch Racing. Hugo wants to wish Lessard the best of luck, and this car that he is running was based off of a Sportsman Quebec series, and was running the 71 at that time.
Well, the 33 looking very solid here tonight. Right now, he is in 8th place and running a special paint scheme to him. What a neat and unique night this is for all these drivers to come out and just run kind of a one-off paint scheme that has some meaning to them.
Yeah, I like that they aren't given an era and they're not expected to run, NASCAR schemes. You have some of these guys that are running NASCAR schemes that they kind of grew up with and have a personal attachment to. But at the same time, you have things like Al Smith, who's running his dad's car. You got guys that are like Hugo Paquette, Guillaume Fortin are running schemes of guys they just grew up watching at their local short track. So you really have a mix of everything, and it's always interesting every single year what these guys bring to the track.
The 3 of Justin McDuff has worked his way to the 42 machine of Brett Bartels. Brett running in 19th spot. We have been green flag racing for all 58 laps now. Not a single caution out there just yet. And the 6 of Joe Schaefer has caught the back bumper of the 98 of Chris Stump.
And I was just about to mention that Joe Schaefer was our quick time winner in the qualifying, but ended up having to start 8th because of that inversion. And he's quickly made his way through the field, and he's shown that he has got a lot of speed in that car tonight. Now he gets to the inside of Chris Stump. Chris is going to let him go. He realizes that 6 machine has got that speed, and really the best opportunity for Chris is to let the 6 chase after Justin and hope that he can maybe catch up when those 2 guys battle for the race lead.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be a bad strategy either. You got someone that's, faster than you. Let him go catch up to that leader. Let them run side by side, wear each other out. Here you come in, pass them both, look like a hero.
And as we just finished lap 61, we'd like to mention and honor the memory of one of the league's founding members who we sadly lost a couple weeks back. Dan's career in the URL was the 2nd highest amount of starts at 97. He had a top 5, a 33 top 10s, and a best points finish of 5th. Al was with this league from the very beginning, and we race in his honor every week from here on out.
Lap 61 for the rest of the season being dedicated to Dubuque. And a lot of drivers very emotional about losing one of their own. We will continue that all season long as the 24 Brandon Otto is going to find trouble. He's going to turn his super late model into a skateboard, and he is going to bring it to a stop on the track. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay and find out what happened to the 24 machine of Otto. Guillaume Fortin working to the inside, and then Brandon Otto just gets into the outside wall down the backstretch, climbs it at corner entry of turn number 3, and that is going to do it for that 24 machine here tonight.
I don't know, that actually looked like it started all the way in turn 1. I mean, it looks like he's just loose through that whole corner. I mean, he's got that back. It's not a very sharp angle drift, but it's enough to get those tires spinning and get those tires heat, a lot of heat in those tires on the very slick tires, and meant he just had no grip. And by the time he tried to track out, I mean, he had to try to catch the slide at the same time, and ended up just bringing him right into the wall.
So as the field slows down to get at a pace that the Ford Mustang can muster, Ford Mustang, it's doing the best it can.
It's probably going faster than my car can manage.
The 3 machine of Justin McDuff continues to lead here at Langley. Joe Schaefer in the 6. This is the caution Joe Schaefer probably wanted to see. He now doesn't have to work so hard to catch up to the 3 of McDuff, but at the same time, he's now going to have to restart on the outside, and that's going to be a tough one for the 6.
Not only does he have to restart on the outside, but he has to restart on the outside, and Justin McDuff gets control over the start. So he's going to be in the worst lane and has to basically guess when McDuff's going to go. I mean, at the same time, he really just has to beat Stump. If McDuff gets a good jump and Stump doesn't really, and Schaefer's able to just hold off enough to get to that start-finish line, then he could drop down to that bottom lane, cut off the 98, still be able to kind of hold on to second place and go after McDuff. So I don't think Schaefer will be able to manage an outside pass, but he's shown some speed here tonight.
Was really one of the fastest drivers there towards the end of that run. Was tracking down the 3 of McDuff, but now he's got his work cut out for him. McDuff, no slouch either. Chris Stump in that 98 machine having a solid race going as well. Mike Alexander has worked his way forward. He's going to restart in 4th place. And with the lights going out, we're getting ready to go back green flag racing, the field forming up. And Kelly, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, all eyes are going to be on the front of the field here watching McDuff and Schaefer as this restart may kind of shape up our battle for the lead as we're at just about the halfway point of this 150 lap race. Going to be going on to lap 71 as the pace car gets ready to get down and out of the way. Now the 3 going to get a great jump, a fantastic jump from the 6 as he's actually able to keep pace with the 3. However, not able to find that bottom lane, and this might spell trouble for Joe Schaefer. Actually, no, he's actually going to be able to get off the corner in time and able to get down below in front of that 98 machine, and now he's going to put the pressure on the 3.
Stump in the 98 machine, sitting in 3rd. Mike Alexander getting passed by the 11 of Guillaume Fortin as Guillaume works his way back forward. Guillaume has quietly been doing that, and now he is looking at 4th place here. That 11 machine trying to win his first Upstate Racing League race, trying to make up for his mistake last week.
And there's a little bit of contact up front between the 6 and the 3 as we saw Schaefer trying to go underneath the 3 on the exit of 4, which is what he's done so many times for all these passes he's made to make his way up to the front of the field. So he may have just kind of shown his hand too early as he made that move, kind of showed Justin what he wanted to do, and Justin was able to cut it off enough, and now Schaefer's been trying to kind of catch up after having to lift off the throttle.
This time around will be the halfway point here in the Best Colorful Creations Throwback 150. Justin McDuff has been your race leader for 57 laps. Brian Hacker, the only other leader out there, he led for 18 laps, and Hacker has worked his way back up into 6th. Bill Martin trying to follow in his tire tracks to work his way around the 75 of Mike Alexander, and now the 96 of Al Smith. He's going to try and squeeze by that 75 machine.
I think you may have cursed the Mike Alexander talking about him. I think he said he was up in 4th. Oh, contact with the wall. Now he's going to get into the 17, sideways into turn 1. These guys are going to be able to get the cars straightened out. Once again, more contact once more, and that's going to send the 17 down to the grass.
AJ Rogers pointed the wrong direction in the grass, but down below the racing surface, no caution flag flying for the 17. He gets it sorted, grabs a gear, gets rolling, and we stay green. Justin McDuff continuing to lead, but the 6 machine getting closer to that back bumper.
And we have to watch for him coming out of turn 4 this lap around. If he's going to be this close, I'd expect him to try to make a move underneath the 3 coming off the corner. We'll have to see this time. He's not going to be able to have the pace. He might not have the tread left on those tires to make that move that he was doing earlier, because, I mean, that required him to have such a low exit off the corner, and I think with the way these tires have worn off now, 80 laps in, he might not be able to do it. Now the 3 washes up the track a little bit. That leaves an opening for that 6 machine. Now the battle for the race lead heats up as the 6 of Joe Schaefer dives underneath Justin McDuff, and that bottom line just shows how dominant it is throughout this race. Schaefer easily clears the 3 of Justin McDuff.
And now Joe Schaefer in the 6 going to lead his first lap of the race. Your quick time qualifying effort put him in 8th, and now he has the race lead, so a solid run for the 6th, and now he's got to hold on to it.
And I mean, he's been fast throughout the night, not only in our qualifying session, but even in this race. We've seen him just work his way up through the field, close up gaps to other drivers, and now that he's got clear air in front of him, we'll have to see if he's going to walk away with this. He's already opened up a 0.3 of a second lead over Justin McDuff, so Schaefer this might be the last anyone really sees of Schaefer, as he might start to walk away from this field now.
The 98 of Chris Stump, he is trying to find a way to get to the back bumper of the 3 machine. Guillaume has closed in on the 98 as well. And then it's the 33, Hugo Paquette, to round out our top 5.
Yeah, looking out throughout the rest of the field, Al Smith has been able to move himself up into 8th. We got Matt McLean holding out 9th. Mike Alexander was able to recover from that incident with the 17. He's holding on to 10th, but he's got a bit of a cluster behind him as Scott Austin chases him, quickly followed by Brian Rogers and Andy Lambert. So that 75 machine of Mike Alexander cannot lift off at all, but he's probably worn down his tires a little bit from that incident he did have with the 17 of AJ Rogers.
Brian Rogers Jr. in the 12 machine, tucked in behind the 5 of Scott Austin, but he has the 72 of Andy Lambert. Ooh, as Lambert's going to get into the wall there. I was going to say that 72 machine rolling the middle of the corner a lot faster than the 12, but then Lambert got into the outside wall. Rogers now in that 12th spot, has a bit of a gap between him and the 72.
Looking back to the front of the field, I'm starting to wonder if Justin McDuff has burned off his tires. It's looking like he's almost struggling to keep that car on the low end of these corners. That's allowed Chris Stump to get right up behind him, and now Stump just looking for a way around that 3 machine, and might just have to wait for a mistake. But the longer he waits, the further Joe Schaefer gets away, as he's now up to a 7/10 of a second lead.
So McDuff has had a few wiggles up off the corner, and the more you wiggle on corner exit, the more you're going to wiggle. Those tires getting hot, but he's going to have to take a few laps to hit his marks and be a little bit conservative on throttling up to let that tire kind of lose a few degrees of temperature and hook back up onto the pavement.
And it looks like he's kind of experimenting with a later entry into 3 there. It looked like he stayed way up the track compared to the 98. And that might be not the best idea when the inside line is kind of line you want to defend. That maybe leaves a bit of a door open for Stump if he's able to get a good launch off of turn 2. I mean, he could try to get underneath there. It looks like Stump may have had a little bit of a wiggle off of that turn that time around, exiting 4. Now looks like 3, McDuff, I think he spun his tires off of 2.
Yeah, McDuff really slow on corner exit. Now the 98 taking a peek to the inside, and the 3 of McDuff is going to go up to the high side here, and Chris Stump going to complete the pass off the corner. Justin McDuff did not put up much of a fight there, and now the 98 is going to have to try and track down the 6, our race leader, Joe Schaefer.
I think McDuff just kind of accepts the fact that his tires are burnt off. I think his run that he had earlier, he just pushed a little bit too hard too early. He opened up a good gap, but that caution that came out earlier just completely wiped out that gap and made all of that for nothing. So really McDuff just struggling with his tires right now, just trying to salvage what he can, as he's going to let Stump go, but Stump 1.1 seconds back from Schaefer. He's got to put down some fast laps to catch up to that 6 machine.
We go on board with the 98 of Stump, Empire Racing Team, and quite handedly running a very familiar symbol to Star Wars fans to represent this Empire Racing Team. Got the Death Star on the hood.
A bit of a battle now shaping up in 3rd place, as McDuff has kind of been caught by the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. We say the 13, but he is kind of running the 11 here tonight. But Guillaume now trying to find a way around McDuff, getting himself back into the top 3. And McDuff, he was running super strong earlier. I think he said he led over 50 laps. Oh, caution out on the track.
We got the 90 of Matt Roll pointed in the wrong direction. The 2 of Steph Marinac there as well. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay and see what happened here to have this 90 and the 2 end up in trouble. Steph Marinac in the 2, gonna get into the 90 off of turn number 4. And how you mentioned that the 2 didn't want to cause a caution, I don't want to point fingers, but that looks like that one might fall on the 2 here tonight.
Yeah, it's a close call, and I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make that call, because it looks like Steph may have just expected Matt Roll to maybe stay a bit higher on track out there and on the corner exit down the front straightaway, but Steph Marinac will take claim of that caution, and I might have to take claim for cursing him by making a mention that he had to stay clean here tonight.
So 47 laps to go here tonight. The 45 of Doug Wysocki receiving the free pass. That will put him back on the lead lap. That gives us 18 cars on the lead lap. We have had 23 cars here into tonight's event. Justin Fuller got a late start. He has recently pulled onto pit road, maybe parking that car for the night.
It was a bit of a start and park just to get those points that he maybe needs just to be able to hold on to that last chase position. I mean, Guillaume is running fantastically. He's running in 4th place right now. That'll be huge for him to secure his spot. And I mean, the other person that's going to be going for it is Scott Austin in that 5 machine. Austin's been able to move up a little bit since we last talked about him. He's now running in 11th, but the big question is, will that be enough to catch Justin Fuller?
Scott Austin in the 5 machine in 11th place. Fuller in the pits. Very close battle in our 10 car chase cutoff. Final race in the regular season. We will be off from our points racing next week, but we will be doing the All-Star race. Make sure you guys tune in for that. That is next Thursday right here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Lights have gone out on the pace car. Joe Schaefer in the 6 on the inside lane for this restart. The 98 of Chris Stump. Gonna have to try and time it right. And the 6 wastes no time picking up the throttle. The 98 of Chris Stump is gonna clear the 3 of Justin McDuff. And that is gonna leave the 11 of Guillaume on the outside.
Guillaume going to quickly find a gap, though, and he's going to be able to work his way to the inside. And something I noticed there, Chris Stump came very close to switching lanes, but realized at the last second he had to stay on the high side for the start-finish line. And I think he did manage to stay up high and then drop down below, but Chris Stump was definitely kind of towing the line there for a moment.
Brian Rogers in the 12. He's going to get passed by the 5 of Scott Austin. And now they get single file. The 75 of Mike Alexander trying to work his way underneath the 96 of Al Smith. Al gonna go way up high. He's gonna dive down in front of the 5 of Austin and get back in line. Al Smith sitting in 10th place right now. And now the 75 of Alexander tried to get underneath the 88 of McLean. Little bit of contact there off of turn number 2. And the 75 again, most of that car down below the yellow line.
Up front, though, Justin McDuff has been able to get around Chris Stump, and now Chris Stump is stuck on the high side with Guillaume Fortin to his inside. Going to try to find a gap between Fortin and Paquette down on the front straightaway, and he will be able to slot into 4th place, but Justin McDuff back into 2nd. That is big for Joe Schaefer. As those guys battled out for that position, he was able to open up nearly a full 2nd lead over McDuff.
So Joe Schaefer, your race leader. Justin McDuff has led for 63 laps here tonight, but Schaefer in position to lead the most laps still. He would have to lead from here on out to pull it off. That is going to be another little point for the 6. Although here in the final race in the regular season, that bonus point may not add up to much.
And 1 point is 1 point, but I mean, when you've got such a big spread right now for the chase, it might not really amount to much, as you mentioned, but Look at the huge lead that Schaefer's got. I mean, that car has just had speed from the start of the night. I mean, he didn't really show it at first. I mean, actually, no, he did have a good fast time in practice there. So he was second in practice, fastest in qualifying. And he wasn't the fastest in the warm-up, but maybe just didn't quite have the clear track to run a quick time. But we saw him start all the way back in 8th after qualifying first because of that invert. And he just quickly moved his way through the field. I mean, that car has just been on another level.
We got more trouble. The 11 machine of Brian Hacker has gone around. Yellow flag coming out. Let's go to our turn 3 instant replay and see what happened to the 11 machine, as Mike Alexander in the 75 is going to touch his quarter panel, and the 11 goes into the door. Driver goes into the wall, driver side door first.
We'll have to see who takes claim of that, because I mean, Alexander almost had his nose there. He kind of seemed like he may have been there, but it was just by an inch. So the 11 did try to take his normal line, and as they kind of came down to the corner, the 75 was able to kind of force his way to the inside. So I mean, he was kind of there, but the gap wasn't really there. So we'll see who takes claim of this. If no one takes claim, then and they might have to look at it after the race. So the best thing though is to claim it during the race, because you get an EOL, but you can still have time to work your way up to the field. If you don't claim it, you get EOL'd basically after the race, so you'll be put in last place.
The 90 machine of Matt Roll going to get back on the lead lap as he receives the free pass. That will give us 19 cars on the lead lap. The only car that is out on track that is in a lap down situation, that is the 2 of Steph Marinac, and he finds himself 2 laps down.
And again, Joe Schaefer probably did not want to see this caution as he saw that 1 second lead that he had just immediately wiped out. But at the same time, I mean, McDuff just has not had the speed to catch Schaefer. No one has. So I think Schaefer is going to be fine on this restart, but this might actually hurt Justin McDuff, as now that'll give maybe an opportunity for Guillaume to have a strong start and be able to get to the inside of McDuff before he's able to move down after the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think the 11 machine is going to be the one that comes out real nice on this restart. He's going to be restarting in 3rd and tucked in right behind the 6 for this restart. And if Guillaume can make it back to that back bumper of the 6 and maybe put up a challenge, find a way to win this thing, he will kind of redeem himself, and that will be a big old moment of celebration for Guillaume.
Yeah, I'm sure Guillaume would love nothing more than to come back after getting his win taken away last week for changing lanes too early on the restart. He'd love to come back this week and be able to get a win clean. But that is a tall order, as Joe Schaefer has had some fantastic speed. The lights are now out on the pace car, and we will go back racing shortly.
Field formed up side by side, pace car getting ready to peel off. The 6 of Joe Schaefer gets on the throttle, and the green flag is back out once again, and Guillaume is going to make the move to the inside of the 3 of McDuff. And Guillaume, and the yellow flag coming out right away as the 11 had his nose out front. And I believe something happened to the 72 of Andy Lambert. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go to our replay here. And Lambert tried to dive down underneath the 88 of Matt McLean. As McLean got into the wall, Brett Bartels in the 42 was right there. We'll take one more look at this as we go on board with the 42 of Bartels.
And that starts actually just a little bit in front of them. Is Al Smith on the start. Looks like he spun the tires, kind of gathered it back up, and that checked up the 88. The 72 went low to try to avoid getting to the back of the 88, and unfortunately that 42 machine was already down there and ends up getting slapped into those Jersey barriers right at the exit of pit road.
heavy contact for the 42 machine. That will possibly give Marinak one of his laps back, as the two is given the go around the pace car. So now Steph Marinak 1 lap down. We do have 20 cars out on track still. Joe Schaefer leading, and now that has hurt the 11 of Guillaume, as he will have to restart in second place now.
Yeah, he did kind of win that short battle between himself and McDuff. He was able to get his nose ahead right as the caution came out, and that's going to be kind of unfortunate for Guillaume, because I'm sure if he would have wanted to stay green, he would have been able to have that preferred line on the inside, been able to likely clear McDuff within another couple corners and try to go after Schaefer, but now he's going to have to battle off McDuff once again, and then this time McDuff's going to have that inside line.
All right, 22 laps to go here in tonight's 150 lap event. We have been slowed for 4 cautions totaling 19 laps, 2 lead changes among 3 different drivers. Brian Hacker, Joe Schaefer, and Justin McDuff have been our race leaders. Brian Hacker led the first 18 laps. McDuff led for 63, and now Schaefer has led for the last 48 laps. As the lights go out on the green flag, we get ready to fire them off once again.
Oh, we're actually going to go single, because they when the yellow came out within a lap, they will stay single file, so this actually will help Guillaume Fortin, as he'll not only be clear of that 3, he'll be able to immediately go after Joe Schaefer. Pace car down to the way, Joe's immediately going to jump out to a fantastic start, and Guillaume not getting on the loud pedal very quickly, and that allowed McDuff to get right up to the bumper of Fortin, but didn't really try to make a move going into 1.
So now Guillaume sets his sights on the 6. Joe Schaefer trying to pull away, and he does have almost a half a second gap right now. We'll keep an eye on that gap, see if Guillaume can reel him in. Meanwhile, the rest of the field very quickly getting single file. The 45 of Doug Wysocki behind the 11 of Brian Hacker, and everyone else, as I mentioned, got single file in a hurry here. Well, we started single file. No one made a big move.
And I mean, it's kind of hard to make a big move here, as we mentioned. It's hard. That's now looking at the 75, Mike Alexander. He's going to get to the inside of Hugo Paquette. Paquette is going to want to immediately drop down to the bottom after he gets cleared here, because, I mean, there's just no fighting on that high side. There's no speed up there. And if you get, if someone gets to your inside, you have to let him go and try to get back down to that inside line before the next guy can. And fortunately, Paquette is able to, he gets a bit of a nudge from the 39 that time, and he was able to hang on to it, so a bit of a struggle for that 33 machine, but he is able to hang on to it.
Yeah, there was a couple bumps there between the 39 and the 33, and finally Hugo able to pull away a little bit from that 39 of Bill Martin. Martin might be trying to find a way to rattle his cage and not mean to wreck him.
And taking a look at that gap up front, Joe Schaefer has already been able to open it up an extra 0.3 of a second. Now that time when the line loses, or Fortin loses a bit more ground there, so Joe Schaefer just running away with really this whole race here. He's been able to keep his tires clean, keep the wear down, and been able to continue the speed that he's pretty much started this race with.
So Schaefer almost to a 1 second lead. That 6 machine now gonna have 11 laps to go here in the Beth's Colorful Creations Throwback 150. And Langley has proven to be a track that the 6 can win at. He's gonna try and pull this off. 10 laps to go.
I mean, it's completely in his hands at this point. There's nobody else even close to challenge him. So all Schaefer has to do is just focus on his own car, and I'm sure he's got this, because I mean, Guillaume, just nobody has the speed to catch the 6 machine.
We go on board with the 6, a Brian Rogers Motorsports Rookie of the Year contender, and he is going to try and pick up, I believe this would be his second win. It would be Schaefer picking up the win at Martinsville earlier this season, so it would be his second win of the season.
And he's definitely kind of made himself a bit of a name that's in the contention for this championship going into the chase. I believe he's been at least up near the top 3 the entire season, and he's only 23 points behind Steph Marinak coming into this race. So I mean, Schaefer has been consistent throughout the season and shown that he wants to be a contender for this championship, and I believe we should at least mention him for this championship.
McDuff sitting in third has not allowed the 11 of Guillaume to get away from him, and now with 5 laps to go, McDuff, having cooled off his tires, really trying to mount a charge here on the 11.
And he is trying his best, but he's been struggling throughout the latter half of this race. And we saw him basically in the same position as Joe Schaefer earlier on, just running away with it. But that kind of wore out his tires early on, and he's been kind of struggling ever since. Now trying to catch up to Guillaume and get his nose to the inside to try to take away second place.
Checking in on the 39 of Bill Martin as he still tries to work over the 33 of Hugo Paquette. 3 more laps to go. Martin down below the yellow line there, trying to find a run up off the corner. But the 6 machine of Joe Schaefer, 2 more laps to go.
It is all Joe Schaefer right now. 1.4 seconds separates him and the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Now, white flag in the air. Joe Schaefer just has to lap this track one last time. Nobody else around him. Nobody else will contend with that 6 machine now coming off at turn number 4. Joe Schaefer wins the Beth's Colorful Creations 150.
Outstanding run by the 6. He led 69 laps here tonight on his way to his second victory of the season. 10th race, final race in the regular season, and it is going to go to the 6 of Joe Schaefer, with Guillaume Fortin finishing in second, and third place going to the 3 of Justin McDuff. So guys, no one go anywhere. We're going to set up our post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our Austin Designs post-race show, and we have our top 3 finishers in the booth ready to talk to, and we're going to kick it off with our race winner. That is none other than the 6 of Joe Schaefer. Joe, you led 69 laps out here tonight on your way to victory, your second win of the season. Tell us a little bit about what went down out there and how difficult it was to pass.
Well, I was very motivated tonight. I feel like this place races a lot like Oxford. And at Oxford, I felt like I had a good shot to win and ended up getting caught on the wrong end of cautions. So tonight, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I've been doing a lot of dirt racing on iRacing here. And my right foot went from being a cinder block to now I can feel it a little better. And I think that helped me tonight. Early on in the race, I could tell guys were getting frustrated with me because I was backing up the corner and I was killing their run to the middle. But I think it paid off towards the end, especially when I had to race with Justin. I knew if I burned the car up getting to him, I'd never get around him. So I kind of bided my time, and I figured I could get him off a 4 or at least show him a nose and give me some room, and I appreciate that.
Well, the 6 wins the final race in the regular season. You start off your championship drive with a coming from a win. How does this help your motivation into the chase?
Well, we'll see. I'm by nature, I guess this is my car, like on iRacing. This is the most lap. This is what I have the most laps in. So by nature, I'm always a little more comfortable driving it. I still don't know if I have the tire saving capabilities with the right front to compete with a lot of these guys on the half miles. So gonna have to learn that in a hurry here. So might have to do a little more practice this week and try running some fast half miles and see if I can save the right front a little better.
All right, man. Well, before we let you go and celebrate this race win, any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, I thank the Posse and Verge Currency for sponsoring the series, and Epic Media, Drew Krybeck, still doing everything he can to help me out. He was my spotter tonight. And also, shout out to Bill Martin. I know he didn't have a very fun time. He was pretty upset with the way the car was handling, but he gave me my sweet Mark Martin throwback scheme, so makes the win just a little more fun for me.
All right, Bill Martin getting his shout out there. And Joe, again, congratulations on the race win. Nice job out there tonight.
Hey, thank you.
That is your race winner, driver of the 6 machine, none other than Joe Schaefer. And now I'm going to throw it to Kelly as he's caught up with Guillaume.
Caught up here with Guillaume Fortin, finisher in second place here tonight, driver of the number 13 machine. And Guillaume finishing second here tonight. You caught into some early incident there with the number 11 machine and kind of dropped you all the way back to, I think it was 8th, might have been your lowest point. How did you work your way up through the field to finish in second?
Yeah, I really had to calm down at first because I was pretty upset at myself for running into him like 10 laps in the race, so I was mad at myself. So I had to calm down a bit, and after that I just made my way and I was saving tire a bit, not going full throttle on the straightaway, just for the end. And like we saw at the end of the race, it paid off because I was able to make some passes and be on the podium at the end.
Finishing second here tonight will secure you into the chase. Looking ahead at the races that we have in store for us in the chase, what ones kind of jump out at you as tracks that you'll be ready for?
Pretty much the last one, New Smyrna. It's where I'm the best. I think it's one of my best place where I run. I've finished second there last year, so I'm really hoping to do good for the first 4 race, and after that just do my best at New Smyrna and have a chance at the championship.
I mean, it's definitely the place you want to be good at, because we'll be going to New Smyrna basically twice. We're going to be having twin feature races for our season finale, and kind of looking at it, is there maybe one of those tracks that you're not really looking forward to? I mean, we'll be doing Phoenix, Richmond, Southern National, then Lanier before we head to New Smyrna.
I think it's about the 1 mile track. I'm usually not that good at them. It really depends on the set we have with iRacing, so we're gonna see. But usually I'm not that good there, so I'll have to put some practice lap in the coming weeks to be better at those tracks.
All right, well, Guillaume, congratulations once again, finishing second here tonight. Before we let you go, though, who do you wish to thank for your run you had here tonight?
Yeah, first of all, I have to thank my teammate at 09. I forgot to thank them last week and I nearly got fired, so I'm thanking them. Also, you guys for broadcasting the race, and also Rumar Vinyl Design for sponsoring our car this year.
All right, well, thank you very much, Guillaume. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again in 2 weeks when we go to ISM Raceway.
Hopefully, I'll be able to talk to you guys.
All right, well, that's Guillaume Fortin, driver of the 13, I guess number 11 here tonight. Second place finisher, and now going to be moving on. KR is going to catch up with the third place finisher.
Our third place finisher here tonight, that is none other than Justin McDuff. Justin, you had that car out front for 63 laps, and then it looked like maybe you overheated the tires a little bit, but you recovered nicely and bring it home in third. Tell us what was going on out there with you tonight.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of frustrating. I was really good at the start of the race. I didn't really feel like I was overdriving it. And then I had a pretty good lead. Joe got to second. And then we kind of maintained. I felt really good still at that point. But at one restart, I don't know if I was overdriving it. I probably was, trying to keep Joe back there because I knew he was coming. And I overheated the right rear. I just couldn't get the drive off of 4 I needed. And I couldn't even compete with him. He got to my inside, and I just basically let him go and was going to try to survive and fight another day. But then he had to play the restart game, the restarting on the outside, and then it went single file, so I kind of lost any shot there at getting back to second. So it was a pretty good night. I'm a little frustrated, but I wanted to win.
Well, win would have been nice, but your paint scheme is also very nice. What can you tell us about why you chose this 3 paint scheme here tonight?
Yeah, so my car is based on the Brett Hearn dirt modified, one of the best dirt modified drivers of all time. He ran the Budweiser car in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I've always been a fan of his since I was a little kid and first started going to dirt track races. So he's actually retiring this year, or stepping down from full-time racing. So I wanted to pay tribute to him and his successful career, and I'm glad it came out well.
Well, man, that 3 machine looking very sharp. A solid run for you here tonight, finishing in third place. Nice job out there. Any shout outs, thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, so first I want to thank Verge. I forgot them the last time. They've done a lot for the series, and it's really cool to have such an involved partner be the title sponsor. So hopefully they come back and keep the relationship going. I got to thank the usuals, Arts Barbershop, Cerebral Palsy Foundation, and then Excel Pay and Excel Trip. Thanks to my teammates at Empire Racing Team. Chris and I worked really well together tonight and kind of, kept giving each other shots at Joe, just couldn't get it done. And then, of course, Al and you guys do a great job, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
That is the driver in third place here tonight. None other than Justin McDuff. Again, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
And Kelly, Langley was a heck of a show once again.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a show. It was, as the driver said, that it was very difficult to pass here, and you're going to be having an off week next week, but then in 2 weeks' time, we'll be going to Phoenix, which will be definitely an interesting one. I guess it'd be one of the larger tracks on our schedule, which is kind of a strange thing to say about Phoenix.
Yeah, it is. And by off week, we mean off week from the points. We will have the All-Star Clash coming to you. Make sure you don't miss that. Nothing left for tonight's race, except for to go through our results. Joe Schaefer, your race winner. Guillaume Fortin in the 13 machine going to finish second. Third going to Justin McDuff. Fourth place will be Chris Stump. Fifth will be the 75 of Mike Alexander.
Sixth, we see the 33 of Hugo Paquette. Bill Martin comes home in seventh. Scott Austin in eighth. Al Smith comes home ninth. And Brian Rogers Jr. rounds out the top 10.
11th place goes to the 88 of Matt McLean. Jimmy McIntyre finishing in 12th. 13th will be the 17 machine of A.J. Rogers. Jeremy Carpenter in 14th. Brian Hacker will bring it home in 15th spot.
Doug Wysocki comes home 16th. 17th will be the 90 of Matt Roll. Andy Lambert finishes 18th. Brett Bartels 19th, our last car on the lead lap. Steph Marinac, our last running car, finishes a lap down in 20th. Justin Fuller starts and parks it, finishes 21st. Brandon Otto, after an early incident, comes home 22nd. AJ Hamill 23rd.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I appreciate what you all do and entertaining us in the chat. And Kelly, thank you for joining me. And I'll let you sign us off.
Another fantastic week in the books, but the chase will be starting in 2 weeks' time. However, as KR mentioned, we will have the All-Star Clash next week, so be sure to come back for that one. And till next time, have a good night.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.